Hey everyone, my name's Richard. This is Grey Wizard Gaming, and today I am doing a What Is Fantasy Flight Games Lord of the Rings Journey in Middle-earth. Whew, long name, guys. I feel like if I was a smarter person, I would have done this video first. Like Grey Wizard Gaming. I was inspired by Gandalf, not the gray in my hair, unlike my friend James's comments. All right, so my game group is doing my game night that does the campaign games. We were looking for a 5-person campaign game. Boom, this is the game, and I want to talk a little bit about it. If you've played Mansions of Madness, or if you've played Imperial Assault, then you're familiar with these fantasy flight games, app-driven board games. This is the components, and you play, like any other board game with components out there, but instead of a dungeon master, you have an app, which you can use on an iPad, or I guess maybe a phone, a laptop. We have a TV screen specifically set up in front of our gaming table, specifically for games like this. So I'm going to show it to you on the iPad, but we're actually going to play with a mouse on the TV. Okay, so this game is quite a bit different than Mansions of Madness. It's a little bit closer to Imperial Assault. It looks better than Imperial Assault because it was made from the ground up to use the app. Whereas Imperial Assault originally had a player playing the Dungeon Master, actually just like Mansions of Madness did too. And in those games, Mansions of Madness 2nd edition was basically built from the ground up to be an app-driven game. There's still a couple mechanics that maybe, but for the most part, it's just pure. Imperial Assault, it was kind of a hack, and it suffers a little bit because of that. This game looks just 100% built from the ground up to be this game. What is also very different, and my group will love this, is the characters are not just, these little cards with a special power and stats, which is meant like Mansions of Madness or whatever. But in addition, you also get a deck, and that's really, instead of rolling dice, you have a little deck, and the deck consists of 6 cards that everybody has. They're called basic cards. Then you have, I think, 5 cards for your character. Like in this case, this deck I made for Aragorn. And you have 3 cards for a roll. Now, I followed the instructions and I made Aragorn a captain, but you could make Aragorn the burglar. Do what you want. And it looks like you can change that out in between each game in the campaign, I'm pretty sure. So if somebody doesn't like being the hunter, they could switch the captain and vice versa. But presumably Aragorn's a better captain and Legolas is a better hunter. Speaking of, you have 3 male characters, Gimli, Bilbo, and Aragorn, and you have 3 female characters, Legolas, Alina, and Barivor. I don't know if you caught that, guys. I called Legolas a female. Legolas is an elf, right? They're androgynous. They're not really male or female. The artist in this case, I don't know if we can quite see it, they made Legolas in particular very androgynous. I think on purpose so that they would actually have an even split of male and female characters. I'm okay with this. Legolas is super cool. And if Legolas, is neither or both genders, whatever. Still gonna shoot dozens of arrows, right? So, you choose your character, you choose your role, you grab all the cards. They also say on the back, like, oh, start with the great bow and a cloak. Or if you're Gimli, start with a battle axe and ring mail. So you start with some equipment. There's all kinds of cards that you can add. So you have bad cards you don't want to add. You're actually forced to add a weakness card. So, for example, weakness card, boom, haunted. It's just a weakness. This just takes up a spot, right? It's just because when you do a challenge, you might draw as many cards as you have. Like I have 4 might, I think. So I just draw 4 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would look, and they've got these little symbols. So get these little symbols, and you can spend. In some cases, like the weird little maple leaves are, well, I guess they're probably those silver leaves. I'm actually not that knowledgeable of Lord of the Rings stuff. I guess maybe about 70%, I think. At any rate, you can spend inspiration points that you accumulate to turn those into successes. You also, looks like you can just get inspiration points back by drawing the cards. You might also, though, get a weakness, or you might also get something else bad. You've got this stack of injury cards, and injuries include things like cursed injury, concussion, dazed, exhaustion, entangled, feeble. I don't think these are randomly gained. I think that the app will actually tell you to gain them, but I'm not really sure. I know that when you defeat a monster, or if you get too hurt and you have to do a last stand, the app will tell you what to do. And that's the thing, very much like a dungeon master, you kind of just trust the app to know what to do. The fears: ill will, tormented, cower, paranoia, delusions, rage, overcome, infighting. So lots of cool Lord of the Rings-esque things there. Again, you don't want those, but they're cool. I like them. You've got, as you progress through the campaign, and the game is a campaign. Right now there's only one campaign, and I'll show that in the app in a moment. There's only one campaign, but I'm assuming the campaign is going to be somewhat randomized, and when you by the time you finish the campaign, chances are you're going to be able to buy more stuff, because this is from Fantasy Flight Games, and that's what they do, is they sell you more stuff. If you like these games, you will have lots of opportunities to buy more of it. There are these kind of positive traits like hidden or emboldened, determined. You've got, I think this is the equipment deck. So daggers and Widow's Warning, Sunsilver, Fatebender, Lone Land Staff, Maiden Wrath. These things are not random. Again, the app is going, they're not mostly random. The app is going to allow you to discover the things as you're playing through the game. You got armor, you've got, equipment like torches and fire scales and old maps, things like that. You've got titles you can earn. So again, Lord of the Rings was very much, title driven. So Guest of Eagles, that gives you a power. Clue Finder, the Fire Giver, the Stone Talker. If you remember The Hobbit, Bilbo was saying all these different titles that, to the dragon. So, titles have power in Lord of the Rings. You've got these banners that represent heroes or allies on the maps. Speaking of the map, let's kind of like show you some of the things here. So I haven't popped them out yet. You can see there's lots of tokens, because again, this is Fantasy Flight Games, so that's kind of like what they do. The important thing I just want to call out is, if you notice the numbers and letters, right? The app is going to tell you, put out 207A, and you're going to flip through this pile of geometric things. And if you notice, these maps are not person scaled. They're regional. So you really have to imagine, when you're on, say, this tile 207A, you are not in like a room, or you're not in a forest clearing. In this large area, there could be anything, guys. I mean, there could be wargs, there could be an ogre hiding. You would not know it. This is way too much forest. So that is something that I've both seen complaints and I've seen people kind of defending on BGG, is that this game is not Mansions of Madness scale. This is set zoomed out. Like, you're really, eagle eye view. So keep that in mind. You're going to be moving through, you're going to be traveling between regions, which you can see because these are, have the little gray thing. You're going to be traveling through different regions, and suddenly you might have a large threat. Speaking of large threats, so these are the starting monsters. You can see there is indeed a troll, and they look like, they're decent monsters. They're well defined, they're big. Let's see, I don't know if you can see them quite, but I feel like they're just a little bit bigger than normal miniatures, which is, what's going to allow them to show a lot of this detail. Looks like a lot of orcs, a lot of wargs, so you can kind of get a feeling what this particular campaign is about. There are some wraiths, maybe barrow wights, maybe, and again, because this is more Bilbo's time, not not Sauron's time. I will say that I regret already that there's just not enough, guys. This was an expensive game. Not expensive compared to some of the other stuff, but it was a little pricey. I would have paid more to know that there's some giant spiders or some other threats from the Hobbit. However, I really hope that this game does well enough and is fun enough to make me want to buy more different other monsters. You can see the heroes are very easy to see. They're, a different color. They're still well defined. You can feel proud when you choose one of these characters to play. I feel like Legolas looks like Legolas always does, just as arrow drawn. Giant arrow. I mean, he's like shooting small javelins. But, yeah. Of course, I want more characters too. Like, there's not a lot of known characters other than just a ton of dwarves from The Hobbit, but just make up some more characters, right? We just want more roles and more things to choose from so that each campaign can be truly, truly unique. We've got these are standard Fantasy Flight things, right? The Learn to Play book and the rules reference. That's how they do all their games now. I personally really like it. You've got quick reference things on the back, so you can kind of hand out the books to different people, and they can use those to kind of really quickly review the rules. You have, that's pretty much it. I am going to complain about something, guys, real quick. What is this garbage? Fantasy Flight Games. Come on now, guys. And what is this flap? Okay? Really? Every Fantasy Flight Games box has this flap. I don't know what to do with it, guys. I don't know what to do with it. That little flap does not do nothing. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pop all these things out. I'm going to put them in there. The little things, I'm going to put in a bunch of Ziploc bags. And then somebody in the comments is going to make fun of me when I buy like $100 broken token organizer, because those little Ziploc bags are going to be a huge giant mess. And I'm going to take it, guys. You know who you are if you're going to make fun of me. It's fine. I don't have time to go through a big pile of Ziploc bags every time we want to play this game. I just don't. So I don't know if like Fantasy Flight Games, which is owned by Asmodeus, has bought some sort of token organizer, and so it's a scheme to get me to buy more, box organizers. However, that box is a shame. It's a travesty. And I feel like every game I buy off Kickstarter for as much or more has a better box organizer than this mega company. What's up with that? Seriously. All right. At this point, I'm going to plug in the app so we won't have the overhead view. We'll just have the app view. Hey everyone. All right. So this is the app. I normally do like to have a recording, but apparently my iPad video out broke. So whatever. All right. So you have this collection. You can kind of like indicate which you own. Right now there's only 2 things, and the expansion is not available for sale to my knowledge. It's under pre-order, but there you go. So you just choose new. You choose your campaign. There's only one. You choose your difficulty. Let's choose hard mode. We all play in hard mode, right, guys? Choose a save slot. Again, this is a campaign, so you're gonna want to play this game. I don't know, probably 12 times to get through the campaign, and say those 3, and then you choose a couple different options for gear, which is kind of cool. And you can choose from your starting weapons, which if you change your class, that's going to make more sense probably, but we'll just default. It is what it is. Party name. Oh, come on, they could have gave us a default name. Boom. The bones of armor. So this is very, very much like, a Game Master thing, right? So I'm just going to bring up the actual app. You can buy a map. That's another thing they sell. But I chose not to. Honestly, I just feel like I'm going to save my money for the actual things that change the game and not just prettiness, except for that box organizer, guys. So you choose your roles. I think you're going to choose this each different game. So, Captain, Hunter, and Musician. Loading. Yay, board games have loading screens now. Okay. And then I don't want to show you too much stuff, but you can see that it's showing me, grab these tiles. Again, the tiles, the numbers seem pretty easy to find, unlike maybe last time. Place the heroes as indicated, and you kind of go through. If you've played Mansions of Madness, this should make a lot of sense. You can interact with these symbols to do stuff. And a lot of the things will be tracked inside the game or the app. So the app will know what equipment you have. The app will know what clues you might have. This is not Mansions of Madness though. So don't get too excited, I guess. This is a combat game like Star Wars Imperial Assault. This is not a mystery game like Mansions of Madness. Now, you could argue that some of us would have liked a little bit more mystery in our kind of like Dungeons and Dragons light. And I do. And I hope that they make another D&D light type of game. Obviously, they have their the one that kind of started it all. That I don't know. It's kind of like a Hero Quest knockoff game. But it's not, right? That's not a co-op team game. I really, really want a actual Dungeons and Dragons game where we can like interrogate people and have a mixture of combat and tactical game, but then also mysteries. That's what I think would be super cool, and I know that Fantasy Flight Games would have my money if they did. So you can click on the little tokens and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell them to search and, fail, pass. This is a test too. That's where you draw the cards and you see if you have enough symbols with your numbers to, to succeed. And I pass, blah, 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 and stuff happens. So there will be a certain amount of D&D light, what I call it. But it's just not going to be problem solving like Mansions of Madness. So this is it. This is what Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth from Fantasy Flight Games is. I want to know your feedback. I want to know, like, is this the kind of game for you? Have you played it, and do you like it or do you not like it? We'll be playing it, I guess, every week for 12 weeks or so. If the expansion comes out before then, I guess we'll be playing it a little bit longer just to finish it off. And then we'll be waiting for more campaigns, probably. That's what I kind of expect. This is it. I'm pretty excited about this game. I really am. And I hope that it is as good as everything. Because deck building combined with Mansions of Madness, it's just missing puzzles. And they could add puzzles. They could literally choose to add puzzles in the next campaign. So that's up to them. They could go as far as they want, in my opinion. With that, I would like to ask you to click like, click subscribe, follow me on my other social media, and bye.
Turn around, I can't see your face. Tell me, where did you go? Was it something I did, something I said that made it all fall down? Baby, I need to know, 'cause I'm losing my faith. And the more I give, the less I get.